right, guys, what is growing on? So happy New Year. It's the beginning of January. I'm back down here in Naples and we're wrapping up a project we started just a few weeks ago. Technically, we're 3 weeks into this project. When I say 3 weeks, I basically mean 12 days though. Today's Wednesday, pretty much about wrapped up doing finishing touches, getting the last couple plants in, cleaning up the shell, touching up the mulch, fertilizing, working on tags, etc. I've gotten you guys lots of drone footage over this project as we've gone through. You can see here behind me materials that were left over, materials that were here when we started. The clients have a really big raised bed garden. I got you guys some drone footage of that. Pat and Carol are awesome, the clients that live here, and they've been raised bed gardening, annual gardening already for a few years. So they've got a big garden out in the front yard, and we've done a big food forest perennial garden in the backyard. So you can see some compost left over. That's a little bit of shell from our paths, and then some river rock that they've had over here in the garden area. And all the exciting stuff has happened here in the backyard, kind of behind this huge viburnum hedge. We've been working. We actually removed about 25,000 square foot of zoysia from this project. Brought in about 250 yards of hardwood mulch, brought in about 20 yards of organic compost, bunch of biochar, bunch of sustain, bunch of azomite, obviously a ton of fruit trees, support plants. Let's check this place out. And by the way, before I forget, Logan, good job with the design. Logan was the one that came out here with me, met the client originally, worked with them through the design process, and we actually called this one like Candyland. There's a lot going on in the design. It was quite colorful. I mean, it just looked like you could walk out in the backyard and eat fruit all day and have a good time. So pretty epic. And that is Candyland. Ooh, what do you think about Candyland? Gonna be some fruit here to eat?
Gonna be some fruit here.
Gonna be some fruit here.
Gonna be a jungle.
Whoa!
She has no idea.
Whoa! No idea what they're getting themselves into. Hold tight, the fruit is coming. All right, so out here in the front yard, this is the last of the cheese that we have left over for the project, and I gotta say the cheese is actually getting a little better as far as having trash in it, having big sticks in it. Still quite a dusty material, but it's the only thing we can find down here, so you gotta use what you have. 250 yards of cheese. Yep, that's probably about 10 left over. We did not do anything up here by the front of the house. The real big game changer on this project is, you guys can see, we've had a concrete company come in. We use Creative Curbing out of Fort Myers, and there's about 1,900 foot linear foot of concrete edging in here. It's all hand stamped, all sealed, all colored. Really an awesome extra detail. And for us, putting that shell in the beds, it really helped give us a larger border instead of just using that typical Epic edging or Sherlock edging, anodized aluminum edging like we would normally use. It really helped to keep the shell actually inside the bed, especially when we're pouring it, we're working with it. As I say that, we have some detail work to do here, actually all over the whole site, but especially right here behind me. I can see how that shell is washing out of this path a little bit, and this little path leading to the gate was an addition, kind of a little bit of a change order. And we put metal edging on this so the lawn company has access to get across, to get into the yard, to cut the grass. Don't really want to be running mowers over this curbing. And the shell is still really, really fresh. Just went down around 4 o'clock yesterday. It's like 8 a.m. right now, so it's really crunching still. The more it does get walked on, the more it gets driven on. It's going to pack down. It's going to get a little bit tighter. We had a little bit of leftover mulch we put around some of these trees. And this is kind of stepping into the backyard landscape on top of the septic tank. So on the edge here, we have a couple of cocoa plum, and then we just have really shallow rooting things like gaillardia, salvias, native dune sunflower, just to fill this bed. So this will kind of be like a wildflower bed. That viburnum hedge was already existing there in the back. It has stayed. No big fruit trees planted on top of the septic. Still got some edging to go in over here. We did use edging wherever we had grass meeting the landscape. So we've got one on this east side of the house. We'll have one on the west side of the house. And like I showed you, that path in the front yard. A little bit of lemongrass, which is going to seed. All this stuff, guys, right now, you got to remember, I'm working down here in Naples. I'm in 10A. I like living in North Carolina up there north of Tampa compared to here. We've already had some frost. Our things, plants already look a little bit sad. So a lot of these bananas, they came from my farm. They came out of my nursery. They're not as lush or as green as they would be if I would have gotten them out of South Florida. So in a few months when we get into spring, these guys are going to be pupping. They're going to be putting out a lot more leaves. Right now they look a little weak, so give me time, hold tight for the follow-up. You guys know I'm coming back. You don't even have to ask. Over here on the left side, we've got some muley grass kind of along the front of these trees, and then back in the shade we used beautyberry, native coffee, native firebush. Kind of on these edges we have some elderberry back there, a little bit of blue porterweed, a couple of chaya, Caliandra focal point here, and then kind of going back into the secret garden area that we still need to finish up. We've got a lot of the edible leaf hibiscus, the large leaf varieties. Probably have 4 or 5 different varieties actually phasing all the way down through here, and along with perennial vegetables in this bed like the Okinawan spinach, longevity spinach on the other side behind me. And we've still got some finishing touches and plants to add in here, but this is the little secret garden area that was here that we cleaned out, and some of these plants were just moved from all over the yard, some are being added. All right, so something really cool that ended up happening that wasn't in the original design to be scoped to be done was we ended up taking out the viburnum hedge and a couple of large jatropha's that were in here originally, framing out the doorways. We ended up putting Sabra japodicabas back in. There's 5 of them here around the pool cage. There's 2 by the door over there on the east side, 1 by the door over here on the west, and then 2 on the back of the cage. So those will be really exciting to see grow, get larger, put on new growth, and obviously walk out the door and eat fruit. Got some bananas back here, lots of milkweed, dwarf firebush up by the cage. We've got some native milkweed. We've got the tropical milkweed. Did use a little bit of bullvine. We've got a couple of vitex in this bed, mango, avocado, sweet almond, a little bit of those tea bushes, and some goldenrod sporadically through these beds. All the fruit trees got the normal perennial peanut, sunshine, mimosa. On the back of the pool cage, we ended up installing a dwarf coconut tree. This is a special variety I found down in Homestead. My buddy Vlad, shout out to him. He helped us on the project for the first week or 2, hooked us up and found this tree. So this guy's gonna grow quite slow, but we definitely filling in some space once it comes. These are the tags we ended up going with on this job. These are really cool slate tags. I believe this is like a wax style marker that you write on here with, and we use stainless steel stakes. And you can kind of see over here with the Thyralis. They look really cool, so neat added element. We've got 1 for mostly each species around here, and then we're just trying to catch the varieties with the ones we have left. I think we picked up about 75 of those tags. You guys can see when we started this project, I think one of the coolest things about it was there was no butterflies, there was no bees. As soon as the trailer showed up with these plants, as soon as they got on the ground on the driveway, they started showing up, and now since we've planted them, they're increasing by the day. So literally nature delivered. These guys have LoJack. These are the other japodicabas I was talking about, kind of framing out the doorway. Then on this side bed, we've got a loquat, a guava, a loquat, a sapodilla. Also used a little bit of that bullvine along the edge here. And there's a couple of sweet almonds and vitex in this back bed. Oh, Mr. Lucas! Good morning, dude. Grafted jack getting added over here. Coconut cream mango. There's a longan. There's also some, I believe, figs in this back bed. Strawberry tree. Peanut butter fruit. There's a groomy chama over there. And another small banana. That one just got added. This guy had no fruit on it when we first put it in the ground. It's completely covered now. This, of course, is that world's best overachiever. Really nice mulberry. Barbados cherry, lots of salvias on the edges here. That native tea bush is doing really good. And then a little grass patch that was left for the kids. Got a little piece of metal edging going in here, and we're kind of finishing up this connection going into the patch in the backyard. A couple of grafted black Surinams kind of popped in here along this corner. There's another one right here. Bottom bed kind of has avocado, mango avocado. Got some cherry de Rio Grandes in here, macadamia nut. We can kind of walk through a couple of these paths, and I'll show you guys what else we have growing on. That's the achacharu. There is a angel trumpet in here. Another mulberry just completely going off. Covered in flower. Taking it out of the mountains of North Carolina and bringing it down to the tropics of Naples, I think confused the tree. It thinks it's coming out of dormancy down here. Now we have just had a really nice cold front here. It was 50 degrees yesterday morning, so hopefully putting it back to sleep and in dormancy, but that one's kind of woken up. I know that's that Thai dwarf. There is the one of the sapodillas. That's that silas wood. Back behind there is a cherry de Rio. Another dwarf coconut on this side, another dwarf coconut on this side, and then our large tree to take in this area just to the right of that secret garden. There's a big Cecropia that's going to grow up here, and this is kind of filled in underneath with longevity spinach and more of the togan spinach or the edible leaf hibiscus, whatever you want to call it, with some flowering species along the edge. We use some more of that bullvine here. There's some of that native milkweed. There's that tea bush. We've got a tamarind over here. There was a couple of citrus when we showed up, ready to be planted. We put one on over here, one on the other side, and this kind of goes over to a dead end. Got some shampoo ginger with the cold that's kind of completed its dormancy. Tried to grab the ones that had a few leaves on them, but they did not do so well. A couple of Turk's cap hibiscus here at the end, and I see a native coffee over there. It looks a little bit pissed off. Those guys can be a little bit temperamental when you first install them. Beautyberry, and then over here there's a lot of turmerics that we planted. They already had gone dormant. Some sporadic pineapples throughout. Guys, we planted a breadfruit on this one, totally pushing the edge. Gorgeous tree. I believe this is that Mahala. Tried to get it in the most microclimate. Originally in the design, it was spec'd to be all the way over there on that open side of the house, but we noticed that to be kind of a wind tunnel. If you're going to try to grow a breadfruit, I mean, we are in 10A. Have seen them down here, have seen them north of here. We definitely want to have it in a microclimate kind of protected location. And there's a longin over here on this side, and we've got almost like a whole Japoticaba collector zone going on here. There's reds, there's grimmels, there's scarlets, there's yellows. I already mentioned we have a bunch of the sabras here. I think there's about 15 different varieties of bananas too. Yellow Japoticaba putting on some new growth. A couple of sporadic spiral and gingers back in here. Barbados cherry over here on this side. We ended up adding a mamey this morning. This carambola ended up coming in on the project too. A couple of papayas throughout this area. And let's step down this last little secret path here. Another one of those parlor maples. Camera takes a minute there to get that focus, and there's a couple more citrus back in this area. Unfortunately, we did not have an oak tree to take advantage of that understory. Some more of that lemongrass going to seed. Probably should get that stuff cut off of there. All right, as we're going into the backyard here, there's a couple of moringas, ice cream bean. There is another grafted jack, black sapote here in the back, and just lots of natives used as the buffer species all the way along the back of the property, like the native coffee, the firebush, and the beautyberry, and another dormant fig. So yeah, in the corner over here we have a black sapote, and that was a really nice sized 7-gallon tree. A couple of the trees we've put in here, because some of this stuff has become so hard to get, have been 7 gallons, have been 15 gallons, like the breadfruit. I think it's like a 15-gallon tree. Jackfruits were 7-gallon trees. The mamey was like a 7 or 15-gallon tree, just because I had to get that one, and that was all available, all they had available. So I tried to get the best varieties there are. You can see another banana over here. Got some more of those Turk's caps and the caliandra going off. All right, so we are locked and loaded. Guys are just finishing up some final detail work. Got the rigs all loaded up. We're ready to head back to Tampa. Right now it is, I think, January 5th, almost 11 o'clock. We'll be hopefully getting out of here by noon. We're actually getting ready to have lunch with the client. And I thought I'd head out front and just show you the raised bed garden area real quick. Then we'll do a final walkover of the backyard. We ended up having to use a ton of pipe to help demarcate those paths for the curbing guys. Got a bunch of pipe going back. Bought some thick plywood just in case we had to jump the curb. Didn't end up really needing it, so we got lucky there. But out here in the front yard, you can see, I mean, no lack of raised bed garden troughs. I think they got 24 of those things. Pretty serious trellis system, all with gravel throughout the whole area. We ended up putting some drip irrigation in there, individual manual valves on each bed, and then this is on its own timer up in the front of the house. I think they're running it like 10 minutes a day right now, just enough to keep the bed wet. Here's that drip tube. Also hooked the client up with a little sustain. They said things have not been growing since they installed them. They don't know if it's a seed store, so they did start from seed. Usually a lot of times when you're buying starts from Home Depot, Lowe's, that can be quite common. They're just like stunted. They don't grow, they don't do anything. So had a half a bag of sustain left over, gave it to the client yesterday. They spread a little bit all over the top. I told them my next suggestion was to get a little mulch on the top of that. Really help to retain that moisture, not let that soil bake, not give the ability for weeds to start coming in. So definitely, he asked me what kind of mulch, and really any kind of mulch, whatever you can get your hands on. We ended up having some leftover mulch from the project. Whoa, did I mention we're probably coming back for a phase 2, phase 3, and obviously maintenance follow-up. So videos will be coming on this one over the next few months. Stay tuned. One of my guys, Lucas, has a camper van. He lives here in Fort Myers. He helps us when we're down on jobs this way. That's his converted van with solar panel. It's pretty cool. You might have seen it on that Mayaca City project also. He helped us there. Ended up mulching some of the beds in the front of the house, some of the little islands over this way, finishing up some of those tags. See what we got over here. We definitely ran out. So some of the banana and mango varieties and some other miscellaneous plants. Just getting the last of those tags out. They are on some pretty harsh well water here. Has a ton of sulfur in it, so went with the stainless steel stakes with those. I'll throw you guys a link down in the description for the tags for the ones we actually used. I did order those, unfortunately, off Amazon. All right, so finishing touches. Little rain will really bring this place to life. Wash some of the white off from the shell. It's definitely lightened up a bit though since we've gotten it out. This place is gonna be a jungle. Candyland. I can see one of those salvia tags. Here we have a Presley Adamoya, lychee, little Barbados cherry. Fixing some grasses. Just finishing touches. Got some butterflies working over here. What is growing on? Hey. I think I walked you guys back in here maybe for a brief second earlier, but we are about wrapped up with this one. I think we did a yellow and a red strawberry tree here. She's got lots of grandkids. Carol and Pat that live here, I think they got a family of like 60 people. I think she's got like 6 or 7 kids, so tons of grandbabies and lots of family to come over here and enjoy this stuff. So it's gonna be really exciting to see the progress. The one thing I can guarantee you're gonna notice a huge difference with in our follow-up is gonna be the growth of the bananas. Like I mentioned earlier, they're just, they're weak. They came from up north. They really, they need to fill out. They need to start pupping. They look a little bit rough, I'll admit that. This is the Chapotacaba zone, some gingers in the understory. And we went down there earlier, shampoo ginger went to sleep. We do a quick little peek in on the secret garden area and kind of this nook behind the house. It's looking pretty awesome. The guys did an awesome job with this one. We ended up with almost 10 guys on the first week, about 6 to 7 here to finish it out. Definitely helps having some extra labor, and we did pick up some extra help. Got some extra help in the office, I got some extra help on the design side, and I got some manual labor all working out. Always still looking for more. So this is that kind of little secret garden area. It's got a couple of cacao in it, some things that were relocated, a couple farfugium. Those ferns were back behind the house, and the bromeliads were, I think they were in here, we just maybe moved them around a little bit. There is some butterfly pea up on the front of this that'll end up growing up onto the fence. And I think there is a tree or two that have passion vines on them here in the back. We ended up using the palm trees for this one. But midday, ended up getting really lucky with the lighting. Usually it's quite harsh at this point. Got a little bit of overcast today. This was a huge project. I understand that not everybody can afford to do a project of this scale. And you guys, this is why I make all these videos. This is why I do what I do. This is why I'm constantly putting out YouTube content. So you guys can do this on your own. You don't have to hire me to do it. You can pick up tidbits from it. If you want me to do it, that's great. Either way, but I try to give you guys the tools so you can do this on your own. Just so you know, 2022, one of my main goals this year is to get out a DIY course so you guys can do this on yourself, on your own scale at home. After we get out the DIY course, I'm working on like a members only area and then really focusing on the professionals, the other landscapers that are out there doing this, just like I was, that were a standard landscaper, cutting grass, planting stuff you can't eat, that just don't know any better. So I really want to focus on teaching, kind of like an ecological landscaper immersion course for the professionals, and then giving you guys a DIY course so you can do this on yourself, on your own scale at home. So stay tuned. I promise it is coming this year. It's already in the works. All right, guys, so what a freaking exciting project this one was, and every job I do is exciting. I love my work. I love what I get to do. I love the clients I get to meet. I'm really just blessed to have this job and to be doing what I'm doing and to be where I'm at right now in life. So I feel quite thankful for you guys, quite thankful for my clients, quite thankful for my team, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think this is an epic site. Can't wait to get back down here to the Naples area. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and do so. Make sure you pound that bell to stay notified. Most importantly, pound